Hey there, what is up, everybody? It's Odin here, hanging out and enjoying my Sunday evening, drawing a bit. Hoping you're having an equally awesome evening or day or whatever time you're watching this video. It's Sunday evening for me, and as I come to the end of the weekend, it was a good weekend. I enjoyed it, and I wish I could have got more drawing done, but that said, we're making headway. This is page number 80. We're inking on right now. Finished page 79 the other day. I shared it out on social media because I was really excited to share that one out. And what was funny was a while back, I shared an image out that I got colors from Demir with the caption like, "Oh, it seems like I just drew this page," and then I got colored pages. Well, that happened in a much more literal sense recently because I shared this image out on social media shortly after I finished it, and then just today got the color images back from Demir, which is super cool. But it was this one here. I'll show you. This page here, I shared it out not too long ago, just a few days ago, and then today got the color images back from Demir. So it was pretty cool that was a much more literal thing, but it just shows how he's right there. I'm not going to have to wait for colors. This is literally only 3 more pages to draw now. You know, and one of those 3 is I'm starting the inks now, so yeah, it's pretty exciting. I'm super excited. And yeah. So real quick, and I can show you this actually just because that's what we can do, you know. Oh, I gotta pull it up again. Give me one sec. So I can show you this, even though it's like spoilers, but I'm kind of like, do I care? I don't really care. If you feel like piecing together the story and whatnot, you know, like, I don't know. But I'm always excited to share images and this is no exception, so give me a sec. Sorry, I gotta find it. So this is the one I just got from Demir. I gotta do this whole thing. Give me a sec. There we go. Yeah, so just drew on it, and then Maria sending me colored images back, and yeah, excited. We're moving right along. So more and more shove pages being done all the time. Yeah, like I said, I wish I could have drawn more this weekend. I had too much shit to take care of, and also, you know, just other things I wanted to get done that, you know, hard to get done during the week, or their special events. So Saturday night I went to my buddy Ryan's house. It's the same place I went to the Super Bowl. He just bought a house, huge fucking basement. He's got pool table, this gigantic projection TV down there. Yeah, pretty cool area. But the Gonzaga was playing, and if you don't know, Gonzaga is the local college here in Spokane. But the only thing they're really like known for is basketball. So if you follow college hoops, they're always a contender. Like Gonzaga's always up there, and so they were playing St. Mary's, which is a in division or in conference rival. St. Mary's is pretty good. The Gales. The Gales are pretty good. But, and so Ryan invited me over to watch the game, play some pool. And we beat them. Trounced them pretty handily. It wasn't much of a game. But ended up playing pool with Ryan, which is always fun. His brother-in-law, Ryan, was there playing pool. And then his brother-in-law's son, so basically Ryan's nephew, and they were all pretty good pool players. His nephew was really good for a young guy. And I just wasn't playing up to par that night. And I was like, what the hell's going on here? Why can't I play? And then I realized I wasn't in the sweet spot. I hadn't had a drink yet. So the sweet spot is somewhere between sober and trashed. And then you got the sweet spot. So went out a shot of Jack. And we'd already played like 10 games. And I came back. And then all of a sudden I was like making everything. I got in the sweet spot. Yeah, and then everybody's like, we're done playing pool. Let's just watch the game. I'm like, I just found the sweet spot and you're all done. So anyway, it was a good time. Ryan and his fiance just bought that house, and it's a really nice place. And so they're always like excited to bring friends over. So he's always inviting me, and I'll go over when I can. It's not too far away. But what's funny is... funny to me. It's interesting. So him and his fiance, they're getting married in July. They asked me if I wanted to be the officiant of their wedding. And naturally I was like flattered and extremely honored. For one, that they wouldn't even think of me, but for such an important thing. So I've been involved in many weddings. I've been the best man in, 4 that I could think of. 2 that... So my one brother, I've been best man. He's been married twice. And the second one is good. But he's been married twice. And I was the best man in both his weddings. But I know of 4 others where I was the best man. What's a shame is that some of those I don't talk to anymore. It's just life happens, and some of those I know the marriage isn't a thing anymore, which is sad, but it happens. So yeah, at least 6 times I've been a best man in a wedding. I've been a groomsman in several weddings too, so I've been around weddings a lot. I've never once been the officiant of a wedding. So apparently I have to be ordained, which I hear is a pretty easy process. Like anybody can do it anytime. So go get that taken care of so that it's legal, I guess. And yeah, that's pretty cool. Again, I'm excited for it. He's like, yeah, you don't shy away from public speaking, and you're well spoken. I'm like, okay. So yeah, very honored and flattered. That's pretty cool. That was Saturday night. Friday night, I had something planned and it turned out to be a total bust, which sucks because I was really excited for it. So the local theater that I go to, I've talked about on here several times, is because they do like these older movies midweek, and it's $2.50 for a ticket. And then they have $3 tall boys you can drink in the theater, and $8 bottomless popcorn. So for a very low amount of money, I'm having a hell of a night. So I like going there, and I think it's cool what they're doing, so I support them. Well, Friday they were having this local comedy fest. Like films. Like small comedy films. All highlighted on this one night. Local. And I thought that was cool. That's my shit, I was like, I want to be there. I was super excited to go. And as I showed up, I realized how popular this event was actually going to be, because the parking lot was full. And I drove around, circled around all the side roads, everywhere I could look for a spot. I ended up parking like 4 blocks away. 4 blocks away. It seemed like a quarter mile away. And the place isn't even close to my house. It's like 20-minute drive. And then I found out the parking lot was full. And then, 10 minutes of circling around, finding a spot. The spot's far away, so another 10 minutes to walk to the ticket counter. And I get up there, and it says it's at capacity, sold out. I missed my window. Now, it's pretty cool that local film event was that popular. I think that's cool as fuck. But I was kind of pissed that I missed. Now, I was showing up, unfortunately, fashionably late. which meant I was fashionably shit out of luck. But next time I'll know. I get there like an hour early, I guess. Because, yeah, I was surprised. The older movies that I go to during the week, they're not like some nights they're kind of popular, but it's never like crazy like that. And like I remember when we saw Big Lebowski there, that one was pretty popular, and they have a lot of seats in the theater, but the lobby is really, really small. So like the concession stand gets all crazy and stuff. But like the Big Lebowski, that one was pretty popular, and that was like, you know, and what's cool is it's like fun. It's a fun environment, especially the older movies. People have seen them, you know. So like Big Lebowski, everyone's like showing up dressed like the dude. Not everyone, but like people are like in robes and shit. And you're like, that's funny, yeah. But but everybody's having fun, you know. They're booing and they're cheering at the right times, throwing popcorn. You know, it's a blast. So I always want to support them. I was excited to see that event was so popular, but yeah, fucking missed my window, I guess. So anyway, like I said, drawing on shove pages. So this page 79, that one is done. Then getting started on inks for page 80, and there's 2 more after that, and then that's it. But I do have to do Cole pages because that's being added to the book. But really, the shove story being so close to done it's a really cool feeling, because it's been a long windy road to get here. But so I was thinking about channel content, because I uploaded a video, and it was received very well. I read from Edgar Allan Poe's A Telltale Heart, and it got good response. And it was just a black box, no video, and me narrating A Telltale Heart. In one take, by the way. Now, I did several takes before that I was like, I'd fuck up a word, have to stop the recording, or I'd get to the end and re-listen. I'm like, you fucked up this part. That one take was actually not perfect, but without any editing, it was pretty good. Now, that said, it was met with good reviews. People seem to like it, so I'm going to do more. Now, in the future, I may add some elements. So my friend, the Tattooed Biker, he has a YouTube channel, a narration channel, where he narrates spooky stories, creepy stories, and what they call Creepypasta, if you don't know. I don't know why, but they call it Creepypasta. But he narrates those. He's really good at it, and he's really built his YouTube channel from the ground up around this premise of narrating. And but anyway, he hit me up. He's like, dude, that was a great narration. But what he said was like, he's like, I would do this if I could, and you can. But he's like, draw some images and have those in the background. Well, and I'm like, that would be really cool. But the thing is, like I told him, it's all time, you know. I was like, oh, this is pretty easy content, but like I said, it took me 10 takes to do the one take. And then if I was doing like editing and putting video on there, or maybe putting some background sounds, you know, maybe like creepy sounds, rain and thunder, maybe some organ. That's just more stuff to add to it, which would help have cooler content and help the videos, but time-wise, you know. So when I'm done with shove pages, that'll open up. I also want to do... So here's the trick. It's a dirty trick. I understand it's a dirty trick. So I've got a playlist on my YouTube channel called Drawing Videos. But all these videos I do on Sundays where I just talk and there's a drawing sitting here, but I don't actually draw on it, go in that playlist. But that said, like, once shove pages are done, I do want to get back to like doing drawing videos. Because drawing while I'm talking, like on something like pages for the book, I don't like the thought that I might actually fuck something up while I'm sitting here rambling on. So I don't like drawing and talking in that sense. But if I do some of the videos where like I just have music playing in the background, or if I do the quick draw McGraw where I might talk, but it's all about like a time limit and stuff. But once I get past the pages for the book, then that, for a little time before I start on volume 2, there'll be a chance for me to do like the quick draw McGraw videos or something like that. You know, something it's a little more of a challenge. So I was thinking challenge drawings, and then I realized on JBOT's stream a few weeks back, Hocky said he wanted me on this show for Pencils at Dawn this week, and I gotta confirm with him because I was super excited to do it and flattered. I think his show's great, and I'm excited, but I haven't talked to him since then, so I gotta make sure, because I think his show's on Tuesdays, which is coming up quick. So I want to make sure that's still going on and he doesn't have a new guest, which if he does, he does. But and if you don't know, Hocky has a YouTube channel, AdHockArt, AdHockArt. And I'm not sure if that's his Twitter or his YouTube, but I remember that. Anyway, there's a great YouTube channel, and he has a great show on his YouTube channel called Pencils at Dawn, which he brings in a guest artist, Hocky himself being an artist. They do a random generated concept for a character or scene or whatever. The guest artist and Hocky both go to town drawing their interpretation of that random generated thing, and they in a specified time. And then the chat votes on who they think is the best. What a great concept. Pencils at Dawn. It's kind of the like a showdown at dawn. Like things always happen at dawn. Meet you there at dawn, you know. Like good, the bad, and the ugly. So something like that. But it's a cool show. It's fun. He's had several artists on there. All really, really cool people, and it's always fun. Like the concepts are crazy, and then everyone puts their own spin on it. So if I'm doing that this week, I do got to reach out to him and see. Partially because I think when the show goes on is when I'm like driving home from work, and so I always miss it live. I catch the replays, but like live, I miss it because I think it's when I'm driving. So I'd have to leave work early, which is no problem. I just got to know. I don't want to leave early and then get here and be like, oh, he's got a different guest. So Hocky, I'll be reaching out to you. We'll figure that out. Yeah, so that's channel content, and then the narration. I was thinking about this too, because I was doing Poe, which I love Edgar Allan Poe because his rhythm, writing wise, is very similar to mine, and it's probably because I grew up reading his stuff, but like that's why I like reading Poe. And I read other stuff, sometimes the sentence construction, I'm like, I don't know, that's kind of wrong. I don't know. Even though Poe's is like so crazy, but it's crazy the way mine is crazy, and that's why I like it, and that's why I read it well, I think. But I have this book. I was pulling this out the other day. Best Loved Folktales of the World. What's cool about this book, I mean, it's got like, you know, the ones we all know, Rumpelstiltskin, Hansel and Gretel, Little Red Riding Hood, whatever, but it does it by region, which I thought was great, because then as I went further in the book, there's ones from China. There's one called I don't think it was called the Little Wang. I don't know if it was called the Little Wang. It was the something Wang from China. And I was like, I'd read that one, but I don't know if I could get through it without laughing. The Little Wang. What's funny is it says stolen by Odin and Shay on September 24th. That cracks me up. So that was my ex, but she wrote that in here. we we didn't steal it. I mean, we did steal it, but so we were leaving a bar late at night. I think we were leaving the bar. Yeah, we were leaving the bar late at night, and we walked to the car. From the bar to the car, there's a bookstore, and somebody had donated large stacks and boxes of books on the front step of the bookstore in the middle of the night. It was a drive-by drop-off. And we were just walking by, and we're like, oh, look at these books. So we started pilfering, looking for books we wanted. This is one I wanted. Now, I say we didn't steal them, because we literally did do this. We gathered up books that we wanted to get rid of in our collections. And when we went to that bar again, we dropped those off on the doorstep of the bookstore. So it was a trade. It was not stealing. But I thought this would be fun. I talk about doing Poe. I think this would be fun to do some of these old folk tales. Beloved, best loved, and beloved folk tales. Especially some of the weird ones like Little Wang. But like we're used to the Western, because they start with like Western Europe, but we're used to Western world folklore. Start with Europe, England, but then stretch out. There was one in there I saw from Burma and Vietnam, Africa, and I'm like, well, I don't know those stories, I do know the Aesop's stories, and but that would be fun. That would be fun. What else? I can talk about what I've been reading lately because, I think it was last video, I received Fatal, F-A-T-L, Fatal, from Charlie Snogans and Clint Stoker. And I joked about, it's 2 years in the making, and then I had my little phrase of like, it's a set it and forget it book, you give them your money and then eventually you get a book, which is cool, it's fine. But I did want to say that Fatal is the funnest story and the coolest art, like one of the best comics I've got from CG, if not the best, like as far as just pure entertainment and fun. The dialogue was funny, it was natural, it flowed well, the situational comedy, they introduced the characters very well. You knew who they were pretty quickly. They didn't have to explain it. That's one of those things, because I was thinking, like, which can happen where you're like, explaining so much through dialogue, which the story like kind of shows you who people are. You don't have to explain it. But it always reminds me of Big Trouble in Little China, where there's a scene where I mean, it lasts a long time, but they're all interjecting, but there's so much explanation in the dialogue, and it's actually very endearing in the movie. I wouldn't want it any other way. Like, it cracks me up in such a way that I love it, but it's something most people want to steer clear of. Like I said, in Big Trouble in Little China, it did become endearing, but it's basically where she's like, they'd be like, blah, 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 this happened, and she's like, do you mean Lopan? The guy who hasn't been seen in 12 years? The guy who lives under, like, all explanation, and it doesn't sound natural at all. It's completely overt. Well, you know me, I'm Gracie Law. I'm always sticking my nose in places where it doesn't belong, That shit cracks me up so much. Now, again, it became endearing to the movie, but for the most part, you kind of want to stay away from that, and just naturally. And I think that was one thing that Fatal had very well, was like, and they are kind of archetypes, but like, there's just natural, like, through the action, through the story, you learn who the characters are and what personalities they are. You don't have to, you don't need an exposition from somebody else to be like, oh, you're that guy who's always, or whatever, Like, you don't need that shit. Like, it didn't take long. It was pretty well done. But again, like, the the comedy was great, like in the dialogue and in the action. Everything flowed well. It was action packed from the beginning to the end. A lot of fun, and then Charlie Snowden's art, just on point. Like, dude's really awesome. Again, it took a while to get, so you hope it's going to be awesome. But like I said, it's a set it and forget it kind of thing. I dropped in my money. I'm not the type to refund. Like, I know, and I don't blame people for doing it, but I'm like, no, I want to get the book, If it takes a while, it takes a while. And I'm not happy that it took a long time, but I'm sure they weren't happy that it took a long time. Shit happens. So at the end of the day, it's just one of those cool things. You just like wake up one day and you're like, hey, there it is. This is pretty cool. So I was happy to get that. I got Goshawk and Falconet from X53 Studios. That one, halfway through that, and it's a lot of fun. I'm really enjoying it too. It's a little more cut and dry, but I can kind of see where it's going. But I also I'm looking for the twist or whatever, the next. Because again, I'm only halfway through. There's a lot of kind of like get to know you stuff. But again, if you do the get to know you stuff through the action, you don't need all the explanation. The action explains it. Like if you're thrown in a crazy situation, the character's personality will come out. You don't have to like have somebody be like, hey, this is Jimmy the Coward or something. No, he's a coward because it's part of the story. So looking forward to finishing Goshawk and Falconet. What else? Well, and speaking of stuff that I was reading, like I reread. Here, I'll pull it up. This is I talk about this book all the time, but I'm thoroughly impressed by it all the time, and I reread it recently. This is Monsters by Barry Windsor Smith. Now again, it's a monster book, but always thoroughly impressed. And the second read goes way faster, but it's 365 pages. It's a thick boy, but what he did, Barry Windsor Smith's obviously an extremely talented artist, but he's not just talented as an artist, he's talented as a storyteller. And I think that is probably what impressed me most. The artwork was great, obviously, but what he was doing in the narrative, in the storytelling, there's little things, some of them not so little, but like, I wonder if I can find it. So basically, there's lots of ins and outs of the story, but Billy becomes this monster. He's created into a monster. And as he's grown up into this monster, he finds his way back home to his home, the house he grew up in. And as he's there, he's reliving memories from his childhood, traumatic memories. And sometimes it's in the third person, sometimes it's in the first person. Sometimes he's this big monster watching, sometimes he's the little boy who grew up in that situation, and sometimes he's the big monster as the little boy in that situation. Like this scene here, it's like them at Thanksgiving dinner, but you see him here as the monster. He's just like sitting there in the place of himself as a little boy, but as the monster he currently is. And I'm trying not to like spoil the whole thing, but like and there's a scene where his mom just loses it on him. Now his mom was like the good person, but she actually loses it on him because she's in such a horrible situation herself, and it's just a reaction and the expressions and everything. But here he is, he's the monster, but he's basically a little boy. He like made a mess, and she's like, you ruined everything, and smacking him around. But there's a scene here that I wanted to point out. Like, all of this is just, I mean, it's just beautiful. It's so well done. The artwork, that ray of light coming through the trees, and you know, I mean, the way he portrayed life in an abusive situation, you feel like you're there. It's really well done. But there's this scene where his dad is about to kill his mom. It's like totally tense. Everything's crazy. All kinds of you know, dysfunctional stuff going on. But you see him there as the monster on the staircase, watching all of this. You know, his dad's like pulling a gun on everybody, and his dad went through all this crazy shit back in World War II and whatever. And then as he's gonna kill his mom, the sheriff shows up. But this starts at, like, you see him, this is really well drawn, you know, but like, it shows him as a boy on the staircase, you know, like, as all this craziness is just happening. And then the sheriff shows up, shoots the dad, virtually saving the day, but it's still like insanity. There's dead people and people beaten all over the place as the sheriff shows up. And then you see him, like, he's gradually showing, like, the staircase, like, the sense of isolation of him as a young boy in these shots. But I think it's the next page, really shows it. Yeah, this one here. This panel here is one of my favorite panels in the entire book, because he purposefully created such skewed foreshortening and perspective, and then you see how small he is on the stairs, and he made these stairs like super big. It like really drives this sense of like so much craziness, adult craziness going on around him, and he was just a kid there experiencing it like alone, and he's like hugging the wall. I don't know, I was thoroughly impressed, because I'm like, you could just draw that like in normal perspective and it's still effective. Like here, it's like still effective, but something about that, like this giant staircase, and he made him so small, like in the corner. Like, that's incredible storytelling, and something you could do it in movies, but you have to like set things up a certain way and all this stuff. But like in comics, you just draw it that way. Yeah, that's wrong drawing wise, but storytelling wise, it's right. So I was thoroughly impressed with that. Like, beyond, I mean, there's so many things in this book that's impressive. So I always recommend this. I mean, just the drawing itself. Like, you can look at this image. It's like a Jeff Darrow kind of like ridiculous detail kind of drawing there. It's so detailed it killed my camera. But yeah, like I recommend that book to everybody. And Barry Windsor Smith, I mean, is mostly a 70s, 80s artist, but like, I've got another one. I won't be able to show it on this camera, but like this, it was Creepy Archives. And this is reprints from 1973, Creepy. And I'll say this. Anybody who's drawing comics right now, that goes for anybody, not just myself, because I definitely feel it, but like anybody. You want to feel small, or you want to feel like you're not good enough, or you've got a long ways to go to get there, read comics from the 70s. I think that was, and I mean, 1973, literally 50 years ago. We're talking about 50 years ago, but the stuff, the comic art in those, and Barry Windsor Smith, now he didn't make monsters in the 70s, but he, you know, created his name in the 70s and early 80s. Like, that stuff to this day, I think it's the pinnacle. The 60s had a lot of cool shit, and the 50s is the golden age and stuff, but like the 70s and 80s, silver age, it's late 60s, 70s, I don't know what they consider what, but the horror comics, the superhero comics, all of it was so good. I read tons of Savage Sword of Codan, and I'm just like, man, I've got a long way to go. Now, that said, this is the first thing I've made, and I'm excited to put it out there. But every page, every panel I draw, I'm learning, and a lot of this stuff, especially, it doesn't matter how good of an artist you are, you can draw, but until you've been storytelling for a certain amount of time, like, you learn so much as time goes on. So I'm really excited for that growth. But I also hope I don't never lose that initial spark feeling either, where you're just kind of like, hey, what you don't know actually makes it better. It's kind of like Jay Lee back in the day, making such crazy shit that was so wrong on so many levels, but so right. So badass. So you never want to lose that either. Anyway, now that I got much more to talk about, and I'm getting closer, nearing that 40 minute mark, I will say, like always, I really do hope that everybody's doing pure awesome and kicking ass in life, in whatever metric works for you. Some people aren't happy until they're making 6 figures or 7 figures, or whatever. Some people aren't happy unless they've got, they're the envy of the opposite sex or whatever, whatever metric. But I do hope that you're happy and content where you're at, but that you're also striving to be better with whatever metric you set your bar at. But my thing is, I'm always a pretty content person. Like, I've been content with so little in my life that it doesn't take much to make me happy. Which, it's pissed off partners of mine in the past, but in general, it's made me a very happy person for the most part. That said, I struggle with whatever, this and that, like everybody, but I'm a pretty content person. And that said, like, that means I don't do well with people who have this constant need for drama, I guess. Like, I've never understood that. I've never understood people who get giddy for drama. Like, people who, like, hey, I'm going to watch Jerry Springer. Back in the day, it was Jerry Springer and Maury Povich. Like, I just want to watch. I want to watch people's lives burn down. I'm like, I don't like watching that. I don't like watching that shit. For one, I don't want to know that people that shitty exist in the world. Because it's one thing to think like some, crazy mafia or cartel or some crazy shit or religious zealot is like, I'll kill people without a second thought. That's one thing. And that's freaky as fuck. But like, just shit people who don't have the zeal or the driving force of like money or, I'm like, just want to be like shit people. Like, that's harder for me. But I don't like drama. I don't understand it. I don't understand when people throw other people under the bus or talk shit. Like, stuff like that just, I don't say it pisses me off. It just turns me off. It makes me want to leave. I'm like, yeah, I'm not going to be a part of that. Like the gossipy shit talking or backbiting or whatever. And Well, to be honest, like I'm in a lot of DM groups, and I don't talk much. I don't say much. I don't do much. And it's mostly because, like, I don't know. Like, once you say something, you're kind of locked in on that thought. And I don't like being locked in on things. I don't know where I'm going with that. But I'm just saying, like, I'm a content person. I don't like discontent attitudes and people that I got to deal with. So I keep my powder dry by avoiding those situations and just being enjoying life and enjoying what I'm doing. And not everybody's gonna like it. Not everybody needs to like it. I don't care. Again, if no one likes it, that's a horrible thing, and I'd have to rethink what I'm doing. But if no one likes it, I would still enjoy doing it. Now, I would have to rethink it because no one else likes it but me. But I would still enjoy doing it. And, I don't know. There's a level of contentment that I just want to stay at. I don't want to, like, let the infestation of, like, I don't know, discontent and, like, unsatisfied and weird ever creep into my life. So I want to stay in this more like positive mode. It suits me well, and I enjoy it much more. It makes life much more enjoyable. So to that, I will say that's why I always hope that everybody's doing awesome. That's why I hope that you're facing life and all your obstacles with power and passion, integrity, courage, kindness. All those great things, because and integrity being, at the top of everything. But I really do hope you're all doing pure awesome. Now I'm definitely getting to a point of rambling, so I'm gonna end the video. But I thank you, anybody who's made it this far, anybody who's backed Unconditional Shove, promoted, helped out in any tangible way. You really are, like, super awesome, and I can't thank you enough. And everybody who's backed. We're getting close, and I'm excited to get it out to you guys, so, yeah. Until next time, hope you're doing pure awesome. This is Odin, and we'll see you next time.